This video is about a round trip in one of Hungary's most beautiful regions, Őrség, located in the western corner of the country. To guard the western frontier, the conquering Magyars settled watchmen there. These guards, who received various privileges from the king in return for their service, watched the border from the high ground, hence the name of the landscape, Őrség, meaning watchpost. The region is rich in natural treasures, historical values and cultural attractions. As you can see, I'm experimenting with a new format. You can see the 3D map together with all the important data: distance, energy consumed or generated, altitude gain and altitude curve. The clips are meant to enlighten the mood and to provide insights about the landscape I'm riding in. Let me know in the comments whether you like or not this format. The first stop is near a small village, Szőce. There is a peat bog near the village, one of the few in Hungary. Since it is still early spring, the bog doesn't present itself in its full beauty. Nevertheless, it is interesting to know that some species living here have survived since the last ice age. Since the sun was out and the trailer's solar panel was continuously charging the bike, I consumed very little energy from the battery. I arrived at the bog with 91% charge. I didn't even unpack the 200-watt solar panel. I simply directed the small one towards the sun. In about 15 minutes, the battery was back at 96%. Not the easiest of terrains. This is in Pankasz, another small and charming village in Őrség. They have a beautifully restored belfry, a typical architectural feature of the region. It is called szoknyás harangláb, meaning skirted belfry. The original building was built in the 1700s. It has thatched roof and an all-wooden structure. I arrived here with 67% of battery. The covered distance so far is 25 kilometers. This is another restored building. It is a blacksmith homestead with a workshop and the house they lived in. The bike's battery is at 66% and I covered 29 kilometers so far. This fortified Romanesque church in Őriszentpéter was built in the Árpád era in 1230. The Árpád era refers to a Hungarian dynasty, the Árpáds, that ruled Hungary from the mid-800s until around 1300. Árpád is still a very popular first name in Hungary. The church was expanded in Gothic style in the 14th, 15th centuries. Around 1550, it was turned into a fortress to provide protection for the population against Turkish attacks. The bison went extinct after centuries of hunting, with the last Hungarian bison shot in the 1700s. About 10 years ago, Őrség National Park initiated a repopulation for bison. Similar to the wolves reintroduced into Yellowstone National Park, the bison here are also shaping the landscape with their presence, restoring it to its original state. I decided it was time to find a suitable campsite. Unfortunately, I realized too late that I had to cross a deep gully to reach the campsite I had chosen. The bush was thick and there were lots of blackberry bushes and fallen trees, so I struggled for half an hour to drag the bike across. By the time I finished, it was quite late and I could only charge the bike for a short time in the light of the setting sun. I managed to charge it to 44% only. The campsite wasn't ideal either. I could only find sloping terrain, but that happens from time to time. This is how the bike looks like. Basically frozen solid. Well, another problem emerged. There is something broke here, so the trailer hangs only by this spring. Oh, that's a problem. So yes, I stopped for charging and it goes well. It charges, I don't know if you can see it. 165 watts with both panels. I'm at the source of the Zala River, which is the main watercourse feeding Lake Balaton. Lake Balaton is Hungary's largest lake, sometimes humorously or sarcastically called the Hungarian Sea. Zala River is 126 km, 86 miles long. The source of the river is actually a marsh, the Fekete Láp. It can be translated as Black Bog, one of the most valuable natural protection areas in Hungary. This also has plant species left over from the Ice Age and a unique fauna. The round-leaved sundew, Drosera rotundifolia, an insect-eating carnivorous plant, can be found here. Since it is only March, I didn't see any, of course. I left my bike a few hundred meters from the bog in a clearing to charge. I arrived here with 33% battery, and while I prepared a meal and visited the river source, the panels recharged the battery to 89%. You could say that the battery seems to be draining pretty fast, but do not forget that I'm on a pretty difficult terrain. I have to deal with dirt roads, mud, deep puddles and bushes. I stopped at the Hársas Lake for a rest, and the name of the lake can be translated as Linden Lake. I made a nice ramen soup, or I'm not really sure, something similar, while the bike charged from 58% to 88% in about 70 minutes. This last part of the trip was rather boring. I rode on tarmac and I didn't shoot any videos. I got back to the starting point with 25% remaining in the battery.